Hey everyone, thanks for Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to do an unboxing of a massive Kickstarter that just came in. This is Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape, and as you can see here, I'm barely able to make it onto the screen. There is so much content with this one, and this isn't even all of it. I opted not to get some of the other pieces that are for this one. I just went in with the all in-game stuff, but didn't get all the scenery and all those extra parts with that. And then there is even storage stuff that you could get with this one. So just a absolute massive Kickstarter for Massive Darkness 2. So this is a brand new game from CMON Games. It is a 1 to 6 player game that is fully cooperative. It's a fully cooperative dungeon crawling experience where you're going to be choosing a scenario you want to play, or if you're playing with the expansion, you can actually turn it into a full campaign as well. So depending upon what you're looking for with this one, and this is for the sequel obviously to the original Massive Darkness, which I've done some coverage on. I think I'll have a link up in the top corner to that if you'd like to check that one out. They have made some changes with this one, and I did do a playthrough video already with this one. I'm a little bit behind with the unboxing video, so I did it in a little bit of reverse. I'll probably end up releasing them in the proper order, but I did film a playthrough for this one already, and I had a really good time with it. I wanted to get it to the table. I wanted to see some of the changes that they've made, as with this one, each of the characters is asymmetric. It plays very differently than each of the other characters, which is a little bit different than the original Massive Darkness, which they did, but not quite like this. So I wanted to kind of see how that was and see some of the other changes that they've made with this one. And I have to say I was pretty happy with it. Anyways, with this one, I want to dive into all of the different boxes and show you all the cool stuff with this one. There are so many minis with this one. I always will do my 360-degree turns as I get into some of these, but I even was able to I had to cut some of those short. I didn't do any for the Kickstarter box and some of that, and I covered a good chunk of the ones that are in the base game, but there's just so many that this video would probably be ridiculously long if I tried to get them all in there. So I covered most of the ones with the expansions, and I'll try to get those in multiples on each of the screens. So let me know what you think of this one, what other kind of content you want to see around this one. I have been toying with the idea of doing a full playthrough for this one as well, since I did one for the original. So let me know if that's something you would like to see, and if there's anything else you'd like to see around this one, whether it's more playthrough videos once I release that one, or any other type of content. I've also thought about doing a separate video covering each one of the characters and going over how they work and how they play and all that kind of stuff, how you set them up and that for each one of the classes, as there's going to be 6 different classes in the base game, and then there's also 3 additional character or boxes you can get with additional classes in them. I think each one of those has 2, and then I think there was like one that might have 3 or something like that. So there's a total of 11 classes altogether. So I've been looking at or thinking about doing a video covering those as well. So if that's something you'd like to see and you're interested in it, let me know in those comments down below. That's the only way that those kind of videos are going to get made, is if enough people request them. So other than that, if you enjoy these videos, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to my channel. So in these ways you can support channels like mine, so we can continue to grow and build and produce this content. If you want to stay up to date on all my videos, also consider ringing that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new stuff. So let's head to the table and we'll see what's in all of these boxes. All right, let's see what's in the box. All right, so first we have the breakdown of all the different miniatures and how you're going to be able to put them back into the box, which is always important. And then I went ahead and tossed this in there as well. This was the cover that was on the back of the box as a packaging. So I just decided to keep that. And then next we have our rulebook, and I did go ahead and punch out all the different things already and put them into baggies to keep everything nice and organized. So the rulebook itself is laid out pretty well. You got all your different components to start off with, and your backstory and game overview, your different phases, which each round is going to consist of the hero phase, enemy phase, level up phase, and darkness phase. From there, then this is going to break down all the basic concepts of the game, including your different characters, the different cards that you're going to be working with throughout the game, different enemy types. So we have mobs and roaming monsters, and then finally bosses. And then it starts getting into setup. all the different things for setting up the game, and then moving into the game itself, which again, it'll break down each one of those phases. So we start with the hero phase and all the different actions and that you can take during the hero's phase. And overall, I have to say that the rulebook was laid out pretty well. I didn't really have any major issues getting the game to the table, which was really nice. And then we have our different tokens and special rules, and then each one of the classes is broken down in the back here, so it tells us how to set up and use each one of the classes. So we have the wizard, the paladin, berserker, rogue, and the shaman and ranger. We have our win and loss conditions, and then we go into the quests. So there's going to be, I believe, 10 different quests included in this one. It doesn't say. I thought they were numbered, but I guess not. And so each quest is going to have different objectives and all that kind of stuff for it. From there, then we have our 2 different sorting bags, one for our different treasures and one for the rogue. And then all of our different components. I have a couple of bridges and all the different level markers for the characters, as well as the round tracking card, which I would have really liked this to have been a punch board. I'm really surprised that they didn't make this a punch board. It is very, very flimsy and would have much preferred a punch board for that. So I'm not 100% sure why they went that way, but they did. And so that is what we have. And then we have the different characters. So each character is going to have some of their own or classes. These are for the classes, so wizard and whatnot. And one thing I do want to point out is that you will have a piece that you're going to punch out for the back of this. So make sure you keep that, as well as a sticker. I screwed up and I for whatever reason, got rid of the sticker. Didn't know it was a sticker. And so I use super glue, works great as well. So if you ended up throwing out the sticker like I did, then you can use something like that as well, and it works. And this actually will go into that. And then we have some more tokens. And then first off, we have the roaming monster cards. So these are the different roaming monsters that are included in the game. So we have, and this is the level 5 versions of them, and then 3 and 4, and then finally 1 and 2. Then we have some of our different punch boards, so doors and pillars, and our mana tokens. And then we're going to get into all the miniatures. The other thing that I am not a huge fan of with this, they did a great job laying out some of this stuff, but it's really hard once you punch out all of the boards and all the tokens to find spots for them. There is no area to really put those, at least that I've been able to find, that is effective in storing them. So I have them in bags, and I've been careful to place them in different spots that have some openings, but you want to be really careful with that, because some of these things are very delicate, and putting too much on them will cause some problems. So first off, we have all of our different groups of mobs. So these are the different mob groups. We have the skeletons, and I can't remember what those guys were called, the satyrs, and I can't remember what they were. And then we have like the infernal guard or whatever. These guys are nasty. So we have all the different, some of the different mobs in there. And then we have our second tray here. This is the other 2 groups. So we have like the fallen angels and gargoyles, and I can't remember what those ladies are called, but we'll get to their cards a little bit later as well. And tons of really nice detail with these. And then again, all the different tokens that are for this. So we have the rogue tokens, fire and frost tokens, the different treasures, which you'll have a number of different treasures included in this one, as you're going to see. So we have all of those tokens, and then the mob tokens, and then some of the big monsters. So we have the roaming monsters and the bosses. And as you're going to see in the different clips that I'm going to have running on the side, these are absolutely massive, beautiful models, great detail on a lot of these. It's crazy how far we've come with board games and some of the detail that they're able to achieve now. Just amazing from the time, even just 5 years ago when some of these things were just starting to roll out. This is just crazy how far we've come with some of this stuff. And these are just great quality minis. with this stuff. It's a good hard plastic, so these things don't bend real well. They will break. Some of these I've even started to see some stress on them, so that will snap if I push it too far, but it's going to maintain that strong thing, so you shouldn't have too many bent models and things like that with these. All right, going down below that layer, I have more tokens. So we have our health tokens and our different anvils and traps and treasure tokens and all that stuff. And then of course the player boards, and these are really nice. I always like what CMON does with their player boards. I love these hard plastic boards. So this will have all the layouts. You'll have your levels on the side here, and it's tracked with all your little punches. So you have your 10s and 1s and the different levels on the side there, and your character card will go here. And you have spots for your hands, for your different equipment and weapons, your helmets, armor, legs, and any kind of rings or different tokens and stuff that you have will go there. And then you'll have 6 of these, one for each player, or up to 6 players. Next, there are a ton of dice with this. We have 6 black enemy dice, and the enemies will roll these, or the mobs will roll these, and some of the roaming monsters in that, and they'll have different effects based on some of their abilities. Then we have defensive dice. These are the blue defense dice, which are your standard ones. Next, we have the shadow die. So anytime our heroes are in shadow spaces and perform attacks, they're going to get to roll this die, which is a powerful die. And so you're definitely going to want to roll that when you can. And then finally, we have the 2 different attack die. We'll have yellow attack dice and orange attack dice. So you're obviously going to want to go for orange as they're more powerful, but depending upon what you have equipped, you'll have to see what happens. From there, we have our different bases for our models to keep track of their color, and all the different tokens to keep track of all your experience and stats and all that. So I'm going to pop that out real quick. Next, we have our different tiles, and so these are really nice tiles that they have. Some pretty decent detail. I like the coloring on these. One of the things that you'll see in the playthrough as well that I was really excited about is that so far I haven't had any warping with these, which was really nice. Even after playing for a couple hours, they were flat as could be, which was great because I've had some bad luck with some of CMON's or CMON Games boards in the past. So we have, this is, our heroes are going to be journeying into hell, so we're going to have a lot of the different locations in hell that we could potentially visit, which, not so good. Some different pendants and worshipping circles and all that good stuff. Or bad stuff, of course. And different cages and things, so some nasty environments our heroes are going to be trudging through on their way to hopefully save the world. Lots of good detail, though. Very cool. All right. And then last but not least is a ton of different cards. So we have all our different mob items. So each time a mob comes up, they're going to draw one of these items, which will give the mob different abilities at the bottom. And then once you defeat the mob, your hero can claim that, and then you'll be able to use it as an item. So that's pretty cool. And we'll have levels 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then finally level 5 for the mob items. And there's a ton of these in there. Next, we have all of our character cards, or class cards. So each class is going to have a selection of cards that are going to be leveled from 1 all the way up to 5. And each one of these will have different abilities on it that will be specific to the class that you're using. And as you level up, you'll get to gain new skills that you'll add to your area that'll give you all kinds of powers. So then we have the Berserker and the Paladin, the Rogue, and the Ranger and their arrow cards. So the Ranger has their own special deck of arrow cards, which is really unique and cool. All right. Next, we have all the different treasure decks. So we have common treasure, rare treasure, and epic treasure. And then you'll also have starting gear and set items and all that good stuff. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then you'll have armor for your heroes to start off with, and that'll be based on the number of players, as that's double-sided. And then let's go ahead and pop these over on the other side and take a quick look at some of these. So again, like I said, we have the different set items you're going to run into. Just tons and tons of gear here. So you'll have all kinds of different stuff you'll be able to equip throughout the game. Okay. And finally, we have the larger cards. So we're going to have the different mobs. So with the mobs, we have the undead, that's what those guys were. The demons, the satyrs, gargoyles, fire entities, skeletons, infernal imps, and fallen angels. Okay. And then again, those mobs will level up throughout as well. So we have level 3, 4 mobs, which are the same as these, just a little bit better. And then finally the level 5 mobs. From there, then we have a deck of door cards, and this time they went with the bigger cards for them, as these are one of the features in the original, and these will have different effects each time you open up a new door into a new chamber you haven't explored yet. You'll flip over one of these and carry out the different things on there, and there's all kinds of effects that those are going to have. Then you have the set items for each one of the characters, and these will outline what kind of abilities that those sets will grant the characters. And then finally, the different characters you can play as in the game. So we have our paladin character, our ranger, there's our rogue, our berserker, shaman, and wizard. Pretty cool. Each one of them will have their own stats and abilities that will be active, or different actions they can take, and then what happens when they roll their special shadow symbol on the shadow die, and then their starting mana and health. Next, we have the Kickstarter Darkbringer pack. So this is all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff with this one. So again, this came with a sheet on the back of the box. So this is all the different characters and models that are included in this one. We have the different game components, again, listed in here. And then they include a couple of scenarios with this one and all the different things for that. So we'll have Hades coming in this one, and so we have some new boards and all that. And then again, our layout of how we can repackage this. And some new tiles. So these will introduce some different locations on there. Really cool, love that. That is so cool. So we have some desert locations, an oasis, and the flow of souls down into Hades underworld, it looks like. And this kind of looks like it comes together and creates a form on there. That's pretty neat. Okay. Then we have our two new bosses, or a few new bosses. We have Hades and Scorpion King. All right, and then we have our roaming monsters. And now these are going to, again, if you play a campaign, these will have levels all the way up to level 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So they're going to get really nasty as you go on with those. And all the different enemy types for these. Next, we have our roaming mobs. Different mobs are included in this one, which we have the Nagas and the Nymphs. on our different heroes that we'll have in this one. So we have some bards, a tinkerer, Daisy, monks, wizards, paladins, rangers, shamans, Castiel, cool, wizard, berserkers, paladins. Oh, it's a dwarf lady, awesome. Love my dwarves. Okay, Mist is a rogue, so all kinds of new characters you can add to your game. All right, then we have 2 trays. So the first one has a bunch of different tokens in it for the different things. Looks like potentially poison and then souls. All right, and then let's go ahead and look at all the characters. So these will actually be, some of these will actually replace some of the things you'll be using. For example, with this, you have a couple of the creatures that, I can't remember which class has those, but you'll actually have miniatures for those now. So there's the other one. And then I think it's the Tinkerer class, possibly, that has these little constructs or mechs and things that you'll be able to replace as well. And then our 2 different leaders for our mobs. So really cool. Again, love all the detail. Look at that mech. He is so cool. Steam powered mech. And then my dwarf lady up there. Really nice. Castiel. All right, from there, then we have our second tray. So these will be the different mobs, the minions for them, and then some additional characters for that. So really, really nice detail on these. All right, and then going into the second tray, these are all our bigger guys here. So these guys are really cool. So there's a rider, that's our Valkyrie. And my guy here actually ended up losing a leg, so I'm going to have to make a repair on him and glue his leg back on that he's got sticking out of his butt over there. But really cool. And a griffin. We have some of our demons that we'll be facing off against. Another demon. And then our boat. And all the different undead souls that are trying to get on board. And then we have the Scorpion King. Look at that guy. He is absolutely huge. That is so cool. Love that detail. Hopefully at some point I'll get some paint on these. That would be great. I've been saying that a lot lately. And then finally we have Hades. He is so cool. Look at that model. Wow. All those different souls that are coming out from underneath him and that. Very, very nice. Next, let's go ahead and dive into the hero and monster set. So first off, we have our druid set here. So let's go ahead and take a look at each one of these boxes. So again, this one is going to come with a small instruction booklet to outline how the druid works and all the different effects for that. So the druid has their own card or tile that's going to keep track of different things for the different creatures that they could potentially turn into, it looks like. So we have an eagle, a bear, and a raccoon. Pretty cool. All right, and then we have a couple of druids that are included in this one. Really nice. And it looks like potentially different classes. We have Hellfire Druid, Darkbringer Druid, and the Shadow Bane. That's for the set of equipment that comes with him. From there, then we have the different treasure items that will be added for this. We have legendary treasure, and then his different skills that he'll be able to gain throughout the games. Quite a few now, all the way up to level 10. So as you're going to see in one of the later expansions with the campaign, you can go all the way up to level 10 instead of level 5. And then we have the different tokens that are included in this one. And then a roaming monster. So we have a Puzzle Bob, Boob. Nasty all the way up to level 10. And then, of course, the miniatures for that. We have our different characters that we can turn into. So there's the eagle and our bear. Look at that, man. He is massive. That is really cool. And the two different starting shamans or druids. And there's our enemy for the roaming monster. Next, we have the monks, necromancers versus the paragon. Or paragon. So we have a different chart here for one of our different characters. That's the necromancer. And then again, we have our sheet that's going to outline how all that works and how the monks work. Different tokens and our roaming monster. So there's the paragon all the way up to level 10. And then we have our monk cards. So let's see, we got a couple of different monks that we can choose from, and then a couple of different necromancers we can choose from. All right, and we have a Hellfire monk, Hellfire necromancer, or a Darkbringer monk and Darkbringer necromancer. Our different cards for our sets, Shadowbane, and then again for our monk, we have different cards that they'll be able to gain for or use somehow. I have not played the monk yet, so I'm not sure how those will work. And then all of the different skill cards for our two different classes. So we have our monk class and the necromancer class. Then we have a couple of items for that. Hellfire and Darkbringers, and then our two Shadowbane sets. From there, then we have a collection of tokens underneath there, and our different models. So there's our new roaming monster, and our different hero characters as well. And as usual, really nice models, lots of good detail with these. One of our necromancers. And our final new set is the Bards, Tinkerers versus the Metal Angel. So again, we have our new rule set for our Bards and our Tinkerers. Okay, so then we have the different boards for them. Interesting sets. Our different reference card, and then our Metal Angel. From there, then we have our cards for our heroes. And our bards. And their cards. And the Shadowbane cards. Then we have, again, the skill cards. So tons of skill cards for both of our new classes. And our constructs. That looks like fun. Definitely interested in that class. That'll be really cool to see how that works. All right, and then finally, underneath that are some more tokens. And there's our Metal Angel. Really cool. And our heroes. Oh, it's neat. We got a guy, he's in a wheelchair. Not gonna stop him. You're gonna mess him up. That's really cool. He's got some bombs on the back, it looks like, and like a little grinder on the front end of it as he rolls over his victims. That's neat. And we have our bard. He looks pretty happy playing his instrument there. All right, from there, next we have the 3 enemy boxes. So this one first is Gates of Hell. All right, so we'll have our collection of roaming monster cards. So let's take a look and see what we got in this one. So we have Cerberus as our big bad, and then our mobs. So we have Shadow Demons and Living Statues. Some serious dwarves, it looks like almost. All right, and then our mob item cards. This expansion talks about that, how it works. Hog Hammer, and then Shadow Claws, Stone Axe. So all the different items the mobs will gain, and then you can take from them as you defeat them. All right, and then we have our mob leaders for the different groups. So cool. And our 2 standard units. These guys are neat. Their axes are a little bent out of the way there. That's an interesting sculpt on that one. And Cerberus, look at him. That is not a dog I would want to run into. Oof. Next we have War of Souls. Alright, so for our roaming monster we have the Banshee. Next, for the mobs, we'll have the Storm Elementals and the Wraiths. Cool. For mob items, again, we have a card outlining this expansion and some Soul Lanterns, Soul Daggers, Whirlwind Sword, Lightning Staff, Storm Boomerang, and Soul Sickle. Some tokens for them as well, and then the miniatures. So there's the Banshee, really cool, and the Storm Elementals. There's the leaders for those. Very cool. And the final box for enemies is the Fey Folk. Alright, so this one is going to have, well, let's start off with the Roman monster here. So we're going to have the Queen, and I'm not, Cassandra, I think it's cool, her name is. Hopefully I got that right. And a bunch of tokens there. No, I'm not even close on that one. That's Kandara. Alright, so then we have Dark Pixies for our first mob, and Harpies for our second. Very cool. And finally, Crystal Dagger, the Double Blade, Vine Sling, Nature Wand, Feather Spear. Really neat. Alright, and minis. Wow, that's cool. And we have our 2 mob leaders. And the 2 mobs. There's the Harpies. And the Dark Pixies, I think it was. Pretty neat. From here, let's get into the campaign mode expansion. So this is Heavenfall. This one's going to have new rules and the quests. So this one is going to outline how all that works. And there's a whole bunch of stuff included in this one. We get some new dice for the higher levels and that. How to use the quests and towns. So a little bit more to this one. And then we have all the different quests for that. Then we have our level trackers. So these are our new ones. These will take the place of the other ones. This is level, it goes up to level 5, and then you flip it over and it goes from 6 to 10. We have new bosses. So Michael and a demon there. And the town. So we can, different locations we can visit. It looks like we'll be able to unlock them under certain conditions. There's different values underneath those. And new tiles. So maybe inside heaven. Yep, there's some interesting stuff there. Lots of cool detail there. Looks like some vines and stuff. And there's the gates of heaven, or portal heaven or something. All right, and we have all of our different tokens. So it looks like some additional tokens for our rogues, or the rogue and all that. We have some new roaming monsters. So all kinds of. These are the level 10 cards for them. All the different roaming monsters, and so these are the higher level cards for some of them. And then we do have a few, such as Archangel Raphael, that has a full complement of cards. Okay, then we have a whole collection of mob cards. So these, again, a couple of them are included. So we have the Corrupted Angels is a new mob, but then the rest of these are probably going to be the other mobs that are from the base game and that. So all of those, all the way up to level 10. And we have the different class, it looks like separations, and either Hellfire or Darkbringer for all the different classes. From there, then we have some additional dice. So there's some green dice and red dice. And the greens look like they're for defense. And the reds are the heavy attack dice. Really cool. Next, there are a ton of cards here. So we have some cards for the different enemies and some of the skills for that. And the mobs, all the different mobs for the higher level ones. Really cool. And then some of the character skills, or higher level skills for each one of the characters. Some items or different set items for the different characters. On to the next set here, we have all the other items for that, and some of the special items for the different Hellbringer or dark guy, and then all the different classes, higher level classes for each one of them. So those will take each one of the starting classes up to 10. From there, there's some spots and different things for some of the tokens that you can put in there. And finally, we have the enemies or minis at the bottom here. So some massive minis. Look at the size of that. That is so cool. And there's a ton of detail in there. These are absolutely massive miniatures. As you can see in some of these 360-degree turns, so cool. All the different designs in them. And then we have, I think, Michael and Raphael there. Really, really neat. And the one's the mob leader, and then we have all the minions underneath there. Those guys, pretty neat. And that is about it for this expansion. All right, so the next expansion we're going to look at is the Demon Dragon, and this is huge. So cool. All right, so of course we have the new rule book and quest book. So this is going to have all the new rules for the dragon in it, as well as some of the new quests. And we have the new boss card for him, as well as a new tracker for the different enemies included in this. We have a new tile. Oh man, that is so cool. Look at that design. From there, we have a new mob that's included in this one, and these are the cultists. We have the different ones for that, and all the different cards it looks like for the dragon. He's going to have all kinds of different activation cards or whatnot, and then some of his items, the different items for the dragon, or that you can get. Some tokens, and then our two mob, the leader and the other guy. All right, so here's the dragon. He is so massive. Kind of a Japanese looking dragon a little bit, and he doesn't have any wings, but he is really cool. I can't wait to see how he plays in the game. And just all the cool detail on him. Really, really neat. Next, we have the Rainbow Crossing. This is a fun little one, almost like the Care Bear kind of style there, with some unicorns and this massive bear. So first off, we have the boss card, and this is the Hug Bear card for the boss. Really, really nasty. Pink monstrosity. All right, then on to the rule book. So again, we have all the different things and some of the new quests for this one. Looking forward to diving into this one, almost kind of like hidden missions that you find in some of the games. Really, really neat. And some new tiles as well. So with these are really interesting. Some stuffed animals, stuffed bears and that, and unicorns. Really, really neat. Oh man. And then we got some nightmarish kind of things down there. Really, and the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Oh man. And the bear factory, it looks like. Crazy. From there, then we have the Hug Bear himself. Massive, so cool. I bet he is going to cause all kinds of problems. Onto the cards. So we have the cherubs and then the ponycorns. Neat. From there, we have a ton of cards for maybe these are the fluffy auras. So maybe for the Hug Bear or some other effect in there. But there's a ton of these cards, so it'll be interesting to see what those are all about. Then we have some of the rainbow tokens and a small selection of cards for mob items. And a couple new set items. We have the smiley stars, cherry bombs, heart bow, marshmallow wands, and the spiky umbrella. Then we have the two mobs in here. So we have the ponycorns and the cupids. These guys are really cool. And the final expansion, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. All right, so then we have the book in this one as well, of course, for all the new instructions and some of the new campaigns. And we have the new boss cards for all 4 of the Horsemen. You might have to face them as a group. From there, then we have the different mob cards. So famine or plague. And famine, death, and war. And then some of the other things. So each one of them seems to have some of their own set of cards, and that's interesting. It'd be cool to see what each of these do. And from there, then the miniatures, and there's a bunch of tokens in here as well. So each one of these guys is riding their different horses. Really, really neat. Can't wait to dig into some of those guys. Trying to remember all the different colored horses they're on as well. War, I think, was on the red horse, and we have the pale horse and all that. And all of the different tiles as well. So each one of them has different stuff on it. Looks like it's tailored to each one of the different riders, and then they have a similar back on them as well. Oh, really neat. And oh, there's war for sure. Look at that. Wow. And really neat. And that will pretty much do it. That is everything that is included in that box. Well, that is everything that's included in this massive, massive game of Massive Darkness 2. Let me know again in the comments down below what you thought of this one. Is this one that you backed or are excited about looking at picking up? Or have you played it yet, and what are your thoughts on it? Like I said, I had a really good time with it so far. I've had a chance to play through the first mission of it, and I will have that video up shortly as well, so stay tuned for that. And again, let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see anything else around this, whether you want to see me play a few missions, maybe a campaign, or if you'd like a full teaching video. I'd love hearing from you and starting a conversation. Until next time, I'll see you later.